All right, let's talk about a 2025
How about that?
recruit. What's that?
I said, yeah, you got to love that, right? Talking
There you go. Let's go right
sophomores
to
in high school.
2025 as we're in the midst of the 23 process. Hey, recruiting happens at all levels and all years. So let's talk about Jay Lamar, who is considered an athlete. Where does Notre Dame stand in his recruitment?
Yeah, so that name might sound a little bit familiar. Lamar, his older brother's Jaden Lamar, Notre Dame running back commit in the 2023 cycle. So, yeah, Darren, we usually don't talk about sophomores getting offered on the show. There's usually bigger items to talk about. So there you go. So this one was interesting. It was would have been Saturday morning at 2 a.m. Eastern time. Jay Lamar tweets out, "Hey, got an offer from Notre Dame. I believe it was the third or fourth school to offer him. Fourth school also has Washington State, Arizona State, and Arizona. So this is an interesting one because he's listed as a running back and he's listed at 6 foot, 180 pounds. Now, their dad, Jay and Jaden, I've met him. Reggie, great dude, big fella. I don't think Jaden got those genes, but Jay I think, is going to be I think he might outgrow running back. I think that Al Golden might want him as a linebacker, in a couple of years. So I would consider him an athlete right now, but I want to say he tore his ACL earlier this season. So you feel for the young man, but still has done enough. Picked up that Notre Dame offer. So not only does Notre Dame feel good about Jay projecting him in the future, I think it helps you keep Jaden Lamar. This is a young man who's visited a few schools since his Notre Dame commitment back in May. He's been to, I want to say it was Arizona this fall because his grandparents live in Arizona, so they go out there and see the Arizona schools. He's been to Oregon and Washington, so you want to make sure that you lock him in, and certainly making Notre Dame kind of a family atmosphere and saying, hey, Jaden, we'll take Jaden and Jay You guys just come up and play with the Fighting Irish. That certainly helps, but Jay he's a good player in his own right. So yeah, I thought it was interesting that Notre Dame went ahead and offered him.
Have they mentioned if they want to play together in college?
Yeah, that's something I asked Jay in an interview after he got his offer, just hoping to write that up soon. Just very busy right now. But yeah, I think that's something that he told me that's exciting to him. But he also mentioned, hey, if I do play linebacker at the next level, maybe play against them and meet in the hole against them and see how that goes. So yeah, it's I mean, they're 2 years apart. Jay a sophomore. There's a lot of time to go in his recruiting process. But yeah, I do think that would excite him and the family.
He's Mike Singer. I'm Darin Pritchett, talking Notre Dame football recruiting on WSBT Radio and also on the Blue and Gold YouTube channel. Well, I think a lot of people who get deep into recruiting love the recruiting rankings. And Notre Dame has been kind of on a teeter-totter, it feels like, throughout the season. I remember I asked you, I think it was in the summertime, if Notre Dame had any chance to finish in the #1 spot, which they have been throughout this cycle. Now they've dropped back, and you candidly said, no, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to finish in #1. I think probably at that point we were already starting to hear that Keon Keeley might decommit, which obviously is a big loss to the class and a big, big loss trying to be #1. So give us a little update. Where are the Irish right now in the On3 recruiting rankings for 2023?
Yeah, they're #3. The margins for Notre Dame above Ohio State, LSU, and Oklahoma are very small at this point. So they're #3 right now, but I mean, they could drop down to 6, or move up maybe because Georgia's not that far ahead of them. So it's tight right now, but still believe that Notre Dame can sign a top 5 class. I mean, Alabama and Georgia seem to be, guarantees in that top 3. Texas A&M signed #1 class last cycle, but they're down there. Texas A&M, where are you at? 15. There's Texas A&M. So do they make a run? We'll see. They're kind of a school that I'm not too sure about, where they're going to end up. But I think if Notre Dame can sign its first top 5 class in a decade, that would be pretty darn good. I say this all the time, Darin, but this recruiting class for Notre Dame is so stinking good. But they really need to find themselves a good quarterback. And then it's one of those with Notre Dame, you're talking about all this depth. It's such a deep class. I think folks are tired of hearing of that. They want the Keelan Keeleys and Peyton Bowens and your Charles Jagasaw. Like, you want those big time, program changing talents. And of course, maybe one of those at the quarterback position. It's a very good deep class, 20 4 stars. You got a 5-star in Bowen, and a couple 3 stars, but again, deep classes, that's great, but you want that top-heavy star power, firepower, especially at the quarterback position in Notre Dame. Lost that in Keelan Keeley. Could they lose it in Peyton Bowen, and then they don't even have a quarterback? So, yeah, need a signal caller, Darin.
I mean, it's great to see the depth and the quality you're talking about, but around these parts, it's about winning the first championship since '88. And until you get that dominant quarterback, whether it's recruiting or through the transfer route, all this other recruiting just kind of feels like, hey, it's great, but then there's the but with the quarterback position. And I get it. I mean, I kind of feel that frustration right now. I think with better quarterback recruiting or adding a transfer, they're a one-loss team right now with still playoff hopes, because if you beat Clemson, you're still right in this thing as a one-loss team, but they're 5-3, and that's who they are. So I get it.
I don't have anything to add, because that's what I just said pretty much. Yeah.
I just copy you.
Yeah. Well, you're going to be wrong a lot in that case.
No. Hey, let's face it. If I know this is all hypothetical, if ands and buts, but if Dante Moore's in this class, we're not having this conversation about what Irish fans are feeling right now. Plain and simple. This would be the most exciting recruiting class since whatever Lou Holtz did in the 1990s.
You said Dante Moore. What about Avery Johnson, who Notre Dame could have had, or Jackson Arnold, who Notre Dame probably should have had, or I know a lot of folks out there think that Chris Vizina was a strong Notre Dame lean, but I was maybe if they would have offered him earlier in the process, but he was, as soon as Clemson offered, that's what I'm told the school he wanted to go to. So it's just like all these guys at Notre Dame was either the leader or second, just couldn't work it out. Bad decision making, some bad luck, whatever. I mean, sure, it's a combination of a lot of things.
Sure.
Maybe being led on by some prospects, maybe Dante Moore being one of those. Just it didn't work out.
On to the next one.
Yeah, it's a great way to end the show, talking Notre Dame quarterback recruiting losses. That's the way to do it, Darin. I'm sure the folks love it.
You mean we're not going to get a lot of likes from the last 2 minutes of the show?
Probably not.
Not our fault.
No.
We're just reporting the news. This isn't fake news. This is just reporting the facts. Just the facts. Okay.